Hey kids, this is a review on how to solve a non-right triangle using the law of sine. Okay, we're gonna first start by labeling our triangle. So the way we interpret this is that you can pick any arbitrary symbol to represent any arbitrary angle. Okay, I'm just gonna do capital A for this angle. Whichever side opposite to it has to be the lowercase. Okay, so this is lowercase a. For this angle, I'm gonna pick capital B, and this opposite side has to be lowercase b. This is capital C, the opposite side is lowercase c. Cool. Alright, so this is pretty similar to solving a right triangle. The first step, I'm just gonna pick a random variable to solve for. In this case, I'm gonna pick capital C. Okay, let's see. Let's first plug in all of our known variables, because why not? So we know capital A over here. Ooh, what is going on? Capital A is 29.2 degrees. We know lowercase a over here, that's just 6. We have lowercase b, that is 12. And we have lowercase c, that is 1175. Okay, so we have this whole thing going on. And we're solving for capital B. If we look over here, okay, this is already a formula we can work with because there's only one unknown variable, and that's this capital B over here, right? We don't really care about this for now. So let's take this part, move it over here. We have sine 29.2 over 6. 6 is equal to sine capital B over 12. Okay, now we're just doing a classic algebra problem. We're trying to isolate this b over here. Okay, how do we do that? First thing we're gonna do, we can multiply both sides by 12, right? Just to get rid of this 12 over here. So this is 12 times sine 29.2 degree over 6. This whole thing is equal to, divide by 12, multiply by 12, so that cancels out. This is just sine b. Okay, to get rid of the sine, we can just take inverse sine of both sides. This is inverse sine. Okay, we have sine and inverse sine. This cancels out, so we're left with just b, which is equal to everything on this side. This is inverse sine 12 times sine of 29.2 degrees over 6. Okay. Once you've isolated your variable, you can just plug it into a calculator. Let's see. Inverse sine of 12 times, I should probably do a bracket, 12 times sine 29.2, close bracket, divide by 6, is 77.35 degrees, and I rounded it to 2 digits. Okay, let's put that over here, 77.35. There we go. Gonna move this aside. Let's see. Now the only one we have left is just capital C, I think. Yeah, that's it. Okay, let's solve for capital C. So now that we have capital B, we can just put it here, 7735. Why not? Okay. If we want, we can solve for this, but to be more accurate, we can just take this part, which is equal to this part, right? They're all equal to each other. So let's copy that down. We have sine 29.2 over 6 is equal to sine capital C over 1175. Let's do algebra again. Get rid of this denominator over here by multiplying. 1175. Okay, what do we have? So this and this cancels out. You have sine capital C, and then everything else here. So this is 1175 times sine 29.2 degrees, everything over 6. Now we take the inverse sine to get rid of this little sign over here. Inverse sine. Inverse sine. Okay, these cancel out. You're left with capital C is equal to whole thing over here. This is inverse sine, or you can say arc sine. It depends on who you ask. Okay, it's written like arc sine. Inverse sine. This is the same thing. Doesn't make a difference. 11.75 times sine of 29.2 degrees over 6. Which is what? We have inverse sine 1175 times sine 29.2 divided by 6 is 7282 degrees. Again, it's rounded. Okay, let's put that over here, 72.82. Now we have our whole triangle. We can double check our math by just doing a little, a basic gut check, right? We know that all three angles of the triangle should add up to 180, so let's try doing that. 29.2 plus 77.35 plus 72.82. We know it's going to be a little bit off because it's rounding, but it shouldn't be too much. And I'm going to do this manually because why not? There you go. So it adds up to 179.37 degrees, which is less than 1 degree off because of the rounding error. All right, and that's it. Let me do another example where we solve for the sides instead of the angle. It's not too much different. I'm gonna just erase a couple of things. Okay, I'm gonna take this away. I'm gonna take this away. I'm gonna take, actually I cannot take that away. Let's take this away. Okay, we're gonna relabel this. Capital A, lowercase a, that's fine. Capital C, this is lowercase c. Capital B, this is lowercase b. Alrighty. As usual, we're going to start with our formula. It's sine capital A over A is equal to sine capital B over B is equal to sine capital C over C. There we go. Now we're going to plug in the known variables. We have capital A over here, 29.2 degrees. We have lowercase a over there, which is just 6. We have capital B. This is 77.35 degrees. We do not have lowercase b. We have capital C, which is 72.82. And we don't have lowercase c. Awesome. Okay, let's solve for lowercase b. So we have this formula over here, right? Where lowercase b is the only unknown variable. So we can start with that. Let's move it here. Sine 29.2 over 6 is equal to sine 77.35 over b. All right, let's do algebra. Once again, we are going to somehow get b out of the denominator because it's very hard to work with. We can just multiply both sides by b. Okay, now we have b times sine 29.2 degrees over 6 is equal to, this is b cancels out, we have sine 77.35 degrees. All right, now we can just divide both sides by whatever this whole thing is, right? Divide this by sine 29.2 theta 29.2 degrees over 6. Divide this side by sine 29.2 degrees over 6. Okay? This whole thing divided by this whole thing cancels out because they're the same thing, right? If you have something divided by something, that's 1. Okay? So on this side, you're only left with lowercase b, and on this side, you have this whole mess, right? You have sine 77.35 over sine 29.2 degrees over 6. Okay, this is a little hard to understand, but all you need to understand about fraction operations is that you can multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing, and it would be the same fraction, right? Look here, we have, this is the top, this is the bottom. Okay, to simplify this bottom over here, we can just multiply by 6, which means we have to multiply the top by 6. Let me just color code it actually. By 6 by 6. Okay. This is equal to b. This whole thing here, this is 6 times sine 77.35. Okay, on the bottom over here, 6 and 6 cancels out. You have sine 29.2 degrees. Okay, now we can just plug it into a calculator. Let's see. This is 6 times sine 77.35 divided by sine 29.2. This is equal to 12.00008. So I'm just gonna let it be 12. This is a 12. And that's how you solve for a side instead of an angle. It's the same thing, right? You plug in all the known variables. You write down your formula. You do algebra to isolate your unknown variable, and then just do algebra and solve for the unknown variable. That's it.